Sylvester Stallone's invincible mercenary Barney Ross and his army are reuniting to the big screen with some more action in the Expendables 4. The movie is a sequel to Expendables 3 and the fourth installment of the action thriller franchise. It will be the final outing in the series for Stallone, who will be back with both familiar and new faces. The Expendables topped at the box office when it was released in 2010 with a gross of $274 million worldwide. Even though it wasn't well received by the critics, the fans seemed to be glad to have the old-school action rush that the movie brought back to the table, particularly with all the stars like Sylvester Stallone, Jason Statham, and Dolph Lundgren. The movie had a disturbing 42% score on Rotten Tomatoes, with a higher 62% audience score. Two sequels were average financial successes, while talks were going around since Expendables 3 for a new sequel. Even though it was announced that Expendables 4 are back in the works in 2018, news concerning the long-awaited movie has been sparse. Since the franchise grossed nearly $800 million worldwide, it was a matter of time before the Expendables 4 got underway. According to The Hollywood Reporter, there is now a new production schedule with a rising cast list with all the actors who have previously appeared in the franchise and ones who haven't. When there's a conversation about the best action films or action franchises of all time, they're usually from the 1980s or 90s. And it's not like there haven't been some awesome films since then, but the extremely violent, thematically unrestricted, and most of them over-the-top blockbusters are not so popular these days. This is the reason why the Rocky star Stallone's Expendables was planned to solve. The new movie will be directed by Scott Waugh, a filmmaker who used to be a stunt performer. Like the rest of the installments in the franchise, the upcoming one is based on the original story by Spencer Cohen, who also is the movie's co-script writer along with Max Adams and John Joseph Connolly. Jason Statham, who stars in the movie, is also one of the producers, along with Avi Lerner, Les Weldon, Yariv Lerner, and Kevin King. Now that we know a lot more details than before about the movie, we can share with you everything we know about the upcoming fourth installment.
You were stupid enough to get yourself into this mess! We're the only ones crazy enough to get you out of it!
There is a new piece of information about Expendables 4 that the movie is supposed to begin production this October. If everything goes as planned, it's safe to say that we can expect the upcoming movie to be released sometime in late 2022, or at the very beginning of 2023. If it's released in 2023, it would be almost 9 years after the last movie premiered. The other 3 Expendables movies were all released in August of their particular years, so that is something to consider for the new one as well. Although, due to COVID, which is still a big threat to the world, and movie productions, the safety measures that are still in place could slow the production process. Early 2023 is probably when we can expect Expendables 4 to hit the big screen, but because of the pandemic, it could be later than that. We should still keep in mind that there hasn't been announced an official release date by the studio, so all we can do is speculate for now. The cast list for the Expendables franchise has been filled with stars so far, mostly for the lovers of 80s and 90s action movies. Most of the actors from the first 3 movies will return, but there will also be some fresh new faces included in the cast for Expendables 4. Part of the staff that will be returning are Sylvester Stallone, Jason Statham, Dolph Lundgren, and Randy Couture. As for the new members, the stars who will appear in the new movie are Curtis, 50 Cent Jackson, Megan Fox, and Tony Jaa. We still don't know whom they will portray in the movie, and it could also be speculation at this time. Possibly the most exciting new inclusion is The Raid's Iko Uwais, who will play the main villain. A person who definitely won't be returning is Terry Crews. He refused to return after Avi Lerner, one of the franchise producers, ordered him to drop the sexual assault allegations he made against Hollywood agent Adam Vinny. Jean-Claude Van Damme also tossed the idea to play his Expendables 2 villain Jean Villain's twin brother. Millennium's media president talked about the casting, saying, quote, "We couldn't be more excited to bring this star-studded, action-packed film to the big screen with Lionsgate, who have been with us since the inception of this franchise. To keep it fresh and fun, we've added exciting new stars to join the veterans. Popcorn entertainment is guaranteed." The Expendables franchise began in 2010, including Barney Ross, Lee Christmas, Gunnar Jensen, and Toll Road. as a group of elite mercenaries who take on all sorts of assignments and missions from government agencies around the world, as well as assassinations, rescue ops, and more. These stories center on these characters. Each of the previous installments in the franchise presents a new mission, completed by a different team of mercenaries, but all led by Ross, Christmas, Gunner, and Rode. Even though Expendables 4 doesn't have to take off from its predecessor, with the latest news, we at least know that the fourth installment will focus on Lee Christmas. Trying to figure out the plot for Expendables 4 is not so easy, but Sylvester Stallone himself could have given us a clue. According to the Illuminati, an Expendables spin-off movie with Jason Statham's character, Lee Christmas, in the lead was in the making in January 2020. They also reported the unconfirmed title, which was, quote, The Expendables, A Christmas Story. Stallone, not long ago, posted on his Instagram story that he was heading off to work on a, quote, spin-off of The Expendables, and noted that the working title was Christmas Story. It seems that the plot will revolve around Statham in the fourth installment of the franchise. From all the information we have for now, the upcoming movie will see Barney Ross and his group of mercenaries setting out to get an arms dealer who heads up a large private army. There are no official details on the synopsis or the rest of the story for the Expendables 4 so far, but we could take a well-thought-out guess. By now, we know that Barney, Lee, Gunner, and Tull will be returning to their previous roles and will set off on another threatening and explosive mission, with the aid of some new members as they always do. With this, it is possible that Ross could either get murdered by the time the story ends, or he will retire so that Lee will take over the team as the leader. According to The Hollywood Reporter, quote, the plot will once again focus on a group of veteran mercenaries. And while the initial movies from in the early 2010s had Stallone as the focal point, sources say in this outing, Statham will be the one with the biggest gun. Fox is the female lead. The Expendables 4 have a lot of options for the characters, and we don't know how far these rebels will go for one last confrontation, until we get to see them in action. It'll also be an emotional moment for Barney Ross, since he's at the end of his wild and exciting adventure. There are so many possibilities right now for the team's journey in the Expendables 4, and luckily, the plan is to go for an R rating. Fans will be able to get some more information regarding the actual storyline of Expendables 4 over the next few months, once the production starts in October.